What's up, people? Punch here. Bought Breachway today, September 26, 2024. Going to talk about my experience playing it and some of the unlocks that I've seen so far, besides the Arbalist and Marauder that I played in the demo. Played the demo for about 10 hours, played the main early access version for about 4.5 hours, and now I'm just kind of wanting to show you guys what I've seen so far. The first thing is on the top left side of the screen. From left to right, they have the hull, they have the crew, the currency, and the fuel. Then on bottom of that, they have the reactor and the ordnance, energy, and mass. Ordnance is red, energy is green, and mass is blue. Underneath the reactor and the ordnance, energy, and mass, you have these slots that allow you to get more biofuel, more reactor points, and then underneath that is your crew. Each crew is different depending upon the ship. For example, if you do the Arbalest, you're part of the Free Roamers, and they're your alliance. If you get that bar all the way up there, depending upon the faction you are, then they will help you by giving you more fuel, giving you some additional items, probably some more currency, or even help you with fire support when you're dealing with pirates or somebody that's trying to kill you in another gunship. The only thing that needs to be known about the crew is that they have their own active skills and passive skills, but you also have to put them next to a weapon. If you have a weapon slot that's empty and you have an AI or a crew member next to it, they don't do anything. They're just kind of there. But if there's a weapon with no person there, the weapon doesn't work at all and you can't use any of the cards. So if you're using the Arbalest or the Lancer and you have somebody that's there on your crew member screen, but there's no weapon there, they don't do anything until you get that weapon equipped onto there. Same thing for if the weapon's there but no crew member. If you have no AI or no person, then it doesn't work and you don't see the cards. Still, when you get into the actual combat or you're about to go into the roguelike elements, you need to learn what your characters do, because on the bottom side of the screen when you get into combat, there's going to be different active abilities that your crew can do. For example, when we get into the roguelike elements here, there's different things that happen. You have different events. Sometimes they're secret, like a secret base or a pirate base, or even like a different area that goes to a different event. There's weird things that happen, and there's 3 different types of sectors. First sector, second sector, and third sector. And every time you get into combat, you're going to fight different ships. You have small frigates, you have destroyers, you have some other types of like fighter vessels, and this is how combat works. On the left side of the screen, you have 50 hull and 3 heat. Once you get past 3 heat, you start taking hull damage, and then you start having to lose heat every turn. So luckily enough, that goes away unless you want to get rid of faster. You have different types of things that dissipate heat quicker. Not for the Arbalest, but for other ships. Then, on the right-hand side of that, you have your deck, your cooldown pile, and then a pile for cards coming off cooldown next turn, meaning they're about to go back into your deck or be reshuffled so that you could use them again for attacking, shielding, or whichever. On the right of that are different numbers. You have red, green, and blue. You have ordnance, you have energy, and you have mass. And they also generate production, which is the white number next to it, +4, 2, and 1. Depending upon how much production you have is really dependent upon how much energy you have in the reactor to put inside those different areas. You can increase their max capacity. You could also increase more power by using the currency that you would normally use it for the store. For example, if you wanted to get more power, you would go to the reactor and get it to 125, 150, or 200 cost for currency. Then you have the different ordnance, mass, and energy. You can get the upgrade max capacity up by like 1, and that costs about 100 per. So if you're going to do that, better make sure you have a bunch of credits on you. Getting back into the actual combat, there's different things going on here. The different ships have their own weapons and playstyles. For example, the Arbalest has a precision shooting. The lasers will target individual modules. So if they have the laser, or if they have the shield, if I shoot the laser, which is red currently right now, it's down for 3 turns. If the shield goes down, it's also down for 3 turns, unless there's a duration modifier that will do +1 or +2 whenever I shoot it, like if I use a railgun from the Lancer. Another thing, when it comes down to the enemy cards, they have these lines on the bottom of them. That's actually how long it takes before they could use that specific skill or weapon. I think with that generator, it was like 3 for the shield, and then it comes down to 2 for the laser. It's always random depending upon the ship. I think bigger ships will cost less, and they have way more weapons than light frigates that have like 1 beam laser or 1 pulse laser. And then you get into the actual more roguelike elements of the game. You have this guy that tells you that if you do something specific, bottom right of the screen, like if you do 2 elite kills, 6 kills of a different area, or explore a couple of places, he'll give you some credits as well as a brand new weapon before you start off the level, and then you can go and continue on from there. As you can imagine with a roguelike game, there's going to be different events and scenarios that you have to choose from, and then you have to either choose allies, enemies, maybe betray somebody, lose reputation, or whichever, and then you have the 4 different factions that you can go ahead and mess with, which is the Solari, the Starkin, the Free Roamers, and the Deadweights. The Deadweights are actually pirates. The Starkin and Solari are 2 different other factions, and the Free Roamers are kind of independent, but you're allied with them when you're using the Arbalest, because I guess you're an independent as well. Then you get into more combat with other bigger ships, different weapons. There's hacking. If you get hacked, you have to deal with the system malfunction. You could also hack other ships in the game, like the Lancer, for example, doesn't have shields, but it also has a glitch type of mechanic that hacks into people's stuff, disabling their weapons, turning their weapons against them, like Mayfly or Wayfly. And what that does is essentially take a missile that is fired and redirects it back to the person that sent it. So if they're shooting me with missiles, I could take one of them and send it back to them and do 4 damage. I could also do volley fire that waits like 1 turn, and then after a specific amount of time, they'll fire 3 volley missiles at somebody for 3 damage each. Like I said earlier, when it comes down to the different ships, they all have their different types of weapons, their different types of crew synergies, and their active abilities as well. I can't really say for sure that which one would be the best out of all of them, because they all feel pretty fun. I did like messing around with the Firebrand when I got it, and it felt like I was using the Marauder, but the incentive was to use it like a heat-based weapon and power up using a bunch of heat inside my systems. You can cool down, and the crew does have a lot of cooldown reduction. It's just, it seems like your ship gets powered up from a bunch of heat, which is not really a good thing for your other vessels. Now let's go ahead and talk about some negatives when it comes down to this game. Yes, it is early access. Yes, it has some issues and bugs. Yes, it will be in development. Yes, it's going to go through some changes. And yes, it's going to have some optimization problems. But, huge but, 10 hours in demo and about 5 hours in main game, the only thing that I've had an issue with, that I have a main problem, is this weird freezing thing. And I thought it was a graphical issue. It's something to do with loading. I don't know what it is. Then sometimes the game would like kind of slow down depending upon how many things are on my screen or how big the ship is. Otherwise than that, no issue. For $15, they could take my money. It's worth it. I love it. Breachway's been fun as hell. But these review bombers going on there and being like, this game is trash, optimization's dog shit, it's fucking horrible. How do you know anything? You don't even understand the definition of the words early access. But then again, I did see a lot of people that got the game for free, so I wonder if there's a lot of these weird Twitch streamers / YouTubers that were like, hey, I don't want to spend $15, $20 on this game. Can you give me a free key? So I understand that there are people that are annoyed. Is the game good or is it worth the money? And I can tell you with confidence, even though I spent $15 on it, I do like it quite a lot. I love playing the game. I put so many hours into it already. Got all the 4 ships unlocked, and now I'm going to go and unlock all the cards like I did for Fights Night Spaces and spent 300 hours in that game. So, I mean, it is a fun game to play, and the asking point for price is not that bad. At first, I was skeptical because the price point for a lot of the games that the publisher had was like $30, $40, $50, nothing under $20. And then when it comes out, it was like $15 for 25% off because they had their own publisher sale. So if you want to get the game now for $15, it's on sale now, September 26th. But after that, I don't know how long or how many days it's going to be before it's gone. So if you want to get it, best to get it now. And the other thing is, with people being like optimization issues, graphical fidelity problems, whatever, I've seen them too, but the game is early access. You're going to buy a game that's early access, and it's going to have problems. Otherwise, leave and go do something else. Eventually, the developers will fix whatever is wrong with the game if you give them feedback and whatever. The other thing is that when you're done fighting a boss, they will give you an AI core, a weapon, or a bunch of credits, and then also a card that you can add to your deck. Then you go to the second sector, the third sector, and then you're done after that. I've been having fun playing the game. The enemies get progressively harder as you go through the level in the different sectors. You have the different boss fights, from the normal kind of like deadweight pirate ship and trade vessels to the big capital class ship that you fight in the second sector. And honestly, man, it's worth the $20 that I paid for, or $15 I paid for, and I don't understand why people are freaking out about it. Showing it off a little bit here is what the second sector boss looks like. It is a large vessel, meaning that it's huge, and that you're probably going to have some issues with it or some underlying issues in terms of modification and weapons being used. Then I want to show off a little bit of the Firebrand before my ship detonated, and that'll be the end of this video. Like I said beforehand, the game is $15 on Steam during the Hooded Horse publisher sale, and if you miss out on the sale, it's $20 full asking price and early access. Like I said, early access means in development, meaning it's going to be changed, fixed up, and probably done whatever until 1.0, and that will be full release when it happens. Until then, I'll be having fun playing this game in space, shooting other spaceships, and going through different roguelike elements in it. It's worth my money, and it could be worth your money too. But anyway, I've been One Nut Punch. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later in the next one.